Beautiful.
And ready to roll here on a Saturday morning. Thanks to our friends at Insperity. Visit Insperity.com for powerful HR solution with exceptional fall through. Nice to have you with us live here from the second tournament of the Texas Swing at the Valero Texas Open. We got Charlie Epps with us. Charlie, what a week here at the oldest event on the Texas Swing. Past champions Arnold Palmer in 61, 62. Chichi Rodriguez in 67. Gene Saracen was a runner-up here back in 32. Ben Hogan won in 46. This is just an incredible tournament. Great setup they have here at the Oaks course at TPC San Antonio. How are you this morning, Charlie?
I'm highly motivated, as always, on Saturday morning to talk golf. It sounds like you're having a great time over in San Antonio. It's a wonderful tournament. The golf course is really demanding. I mean, you really got to be in shape to walk this golf course. It's beautiful. It's a golf course designed by Greg Norman, I believe, and Sergio Garcia. So we're going to have a great show.
You're 100% correct. And Charlie, I mean, the weather here in San Antonio can just be such a major factor. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you had lows in the 80s and highs got to, around the 90s. Yesterday, the first round and second round, fairly hot. This morning, we're here at the golf course, and it's windy. It's a little chilly. Highs now in the low 70s, and I feel that you have a perfect 36-hole leader in 2023 Open champion Brian Harmon. Yeah, he knows how to handle some weather, but talk about how the conditions can just change a lot here in San Antonio, and how much the Texas winds can have an effect on the players.
Well, we're in spring, and spring you never know what the weather's going to have for you, and it comes up from the north, and the spring winds are very inconsistent, so they can get up to 20, 25 miles an hour, and then they'll stop. So the player is going to really have to play very smart golf with winds like this. If you know the winds, and there in San Antonio, there's little mountains, little hills, and
on the show today, we're going to visit the
wind comes through those mountains.
Get his thoughts on the Oaks course
and you can't really feel it. So,
this facility certainly improved and changed. And the same goes on the putting greens, right? I mean, putting in the hill country.
It's tough to pick up some of these subtle slopes and undulations on the greens here.
Yes, sir. You got that right. The golf course is on a piece of land that's right through a little valley, and those ups and downs, those little nuances of hill country. Mountains are they're not mountains, they're hills, but it adds to the science of trying to make a putt from 7 to 10 feet, because there's breaks in those greens that it's hard for the players to pick up if they haven't ever played it.
Charlie, you're a four-time PGA Pro winner, Blaine McAllister. He won here in 1991, birdied the second extra hole in a playoff to defeat Gary Halberg by a single stroke. Were you on property here with McAllister that week?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that was very exciting. I actually played in that tournament. I played in the San Antonio Open quite a few times because of my membership in the Southern Texas PGA. and I've always enjoyed the hospitality that San Antonio has. But it's really grown into a big city, and where you are is probably a 40-minute drive to where we used to play at Oak Hills. So the population of San Antonio has really risen.
No, that's right. Went from Breckenridge to Oak Hill, to a number of other golf courses, before it made its home, here at the Oaks course at TPC San Antonio. Charlie, we were supposed to get Larson Siegerdahl, the tournament director of the Valero Texas Open, on at 8:15. He might not make it with us, but I got to commend him for 1 second. He's done a great job. I don't want to say resurrecting, but bringing an elite field back to San Antonio. I mean, just looking here in the early 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, in 92, Nick Price, 91, Blaine McAllister, 1990, Marco Mira, who we'll get to in a second. Charlie, you were at the Insperity Invitational Media Day earlier this week, and O'Mara is going to join the Greats of Golf there at the Woodlands Tournament course. But as far as San Antonio, 1990, Marco Mira, 88, Corey Pavin, 87, Tom Watson, 86, Ben Crenshaw, 1985, your good friend John Mahaffey won this golf tournament. This was really 81, Bill Rogers. This was a staple, on the PGA Tour. And then I think in, the early 2000s, the field maybe just not as strong in this week before Augusta, but the last 2 years, I got to credit Larson Siegerdahl. Does a great job getting a good field to this tournament. Akshay Bhatia was your defending champion. He missed the cut, but once again, Jordan Spieth in contention, Brian Harmon in the lead. Mr. Siegerdahl, really an incredible job. And how about this, Charlie? I'm sure the number has raised in 2022, the Valero Texas Open raised a record-breaking $22 million for the 100th anniversary of the tournament for charity. That raised the tournament total to $209 million over the years, and probably more at this point. They keep charity at the forefront of this event, Charlie.
Well, they sure do, and thanks to the Valero company that became the title sponsor when Houston gave up its dates, and San Antonio was able to take over the dates of Houston just before the Masters, and the tournament's grown in stature. Your field is correct. There's a lot of guys that like to play before the week before the Masters, and there's some that don't. So it was fun seeing Jack Nicklaus on property yesterday. I was watching the telecast, and Jack is there. I'm not sure why, but I know he's not in the lineup.
No, Charlie, he's not. He had a Folds of Honor dinner last night here at the Marriott on property, and it's interesting. Mr. Nicklaus never played this golf tournament. Had been back to San Antonio in 23 years. He said it just never fit on his schedule, but he was here for a dinner last night. He was kind enough to join Smiley Kaufman and George Spieth and Maverick McNeely on the happy hour. It was really just an incredible scene there on the 16th tee box, the par 3, where Tony Finau made a hole-in-one yesterday. But Mr. Nicklaus looked phenomenal, Charlie. Well-spoken on the broadcast. I thought he said a lot of good things, and it was great to see the Golden Bear out here a couple weeks before we see him at the Insperity Invitational in the Woodlands. Charlie, how was that media day this week?
The media day was very, very, very nice. It was an event held for the sponsors of the event. Brian Noggles and his staff did a wonderful job. We had the defending champion there on property, Nick Dunlop, and it was a great day. And my team didn't win it, but we sure did have a lot of fun.
Well, no, and we have really an incredible tournament coming up as far as PGA Tour champions in Houston. Everyone needs to get out to the Woodlands Country Club tournament course April 28th through May 4th. If you can't make it to the event for some reason, that's no problem. You get 3 days of tournament coverage on Golf Channel, Friday, May 2nd to Sunday, May 4th. 6 hours of national and international coverage that's going to reach over 77 million U.S. households. And Charlie, I would say that the best time of this tournament, Saturday afternoon around 2 p.m., you've got the Folds of Honor Greats of Golf competition, and the tournament just announced. Not only is Jack Nicklaus and Lee Trevino and Gary Player going to be there, Laura Davies and Pat Bradley, but Marco Mira, Curtis Strange, and Sir Nick Faldo now join the Greats of Golf. That's those are three legendary names to be joining the pack there at the Woodlands, Charlie.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful day, and it's fun to see the senior golfers, championship golfers play, but also the super seniors, gentlemen like Nicholas. He's 85 years old, and he still comes and shows up and promotes golf, and he likes to answer questions, and he's right in the mix of it, and a lot of other. The one name I didn't see is Gary Player coming this year.
Well, in the press release, I can go back and double check, but in the press release, it sounded like O'Mara, Faldo, and Strange were joining. I believe the three names: Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino, and Gary Player. I'll double check that on break, Charlie. But unless you've heard otherwise, I believe Mr. Player will be there again.
Oh yeah, so those guys are so entertaining, and the entry to the tournament is free. Insperity and its sponsors, they love to welcome people to come and see their activities and their product and the champion players. So I recommend to everybody to come on out to the side of the Insperity Invitational. It's a record prize that the low professor is going to get, but it's just so much fun, and bring the kids. The kids will enjoy it too.
Yeah, Charlie, Junior Day is the Tuesday of the tournament. They're going to have a clinic. They're going to have a pro-am. Great time for juniors to come out and watch. Practice rounds are Monday and Tuesday. Those are great days to get a feel of what players are working on as well. So a lot to look forward to there at the Woodlands Country Club, April 28th through May 4th. And let me take you through what we have here in Texas coming up as far as the professional game is concerned. It started last week with the Houston Open, as far as the Texas Children's Houston Open at Memorial Park, where Minwoo Lee won his first PGA Tour event. We'll talk about that, here on the other side. The tours in San Antonio through this weekend as we're at the midway point of the Valero Texas Open. On April 24th through the 27th, you have the Chevron Championship coming to Houston at Carlton Woods. That's the first LPGA major of the year. It's going to take place the same weekend as the Veritex Bank Championship in Arlington, as the Korn Ferry Tour comes to Texas. Then a week later, you not only have the Insperity Invitational in the Woodlands, Texas, you also have the CJ Cup and Byron Nelson traveling to Dallas that week. So a lot to look forward to as far as the Texas game is concerned, with the PGA Tour traveling to Texas. And on the other side, we'll get to 26-year-old Australian Minwoo Lee winning his first PGA Tour title at the Texas Children's Houston Open. And Charlie, I got us a guest this morning who's going to join us for the next two segments. It's former PGA Tour caddy and current NBC analyst John Wood. He's going to join us here in the next two segments at some point. Caddied for Matt Kuchar, caddied for Hunter Mahan, caddied for Mark Calciavecchia. Great insight on the game of golf. We got to take a quick break. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour. Brian Harmon leads the way here at the Valero Texas Open by 4 shots over Keith Mitchell.
Pro-am, a couple first rounds in one win, and all of a sudden, every single hole is going to be direct opposite. So we're talking about different clubs off tees, different clubs in the holes. Some are going to play harder, some are going to play easier. Big adjustment for the caddies and players.
It's my experience from my level of being able to play that when a designer builds a golf course, it's for the prevailing wind, and when it switches. Everybody says, well, that hole's going to be downwind. It's going to be easier. Well, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Let's,
I guarantee you.
Abigail, we'll have the Minwoo on driving at Memorial ready.
Off this team, but it's going to be today, so you have something you might want to talk about on the practice range.
And then
We talked about Brian
probably
Harmon
get to that audio
under
that's supposed to be in segment 3 until John Wood joins us.
Almost exactly the same. This kind of temperature.
Yeah, we're going into segment 2, but I might use some of that audio that we're planning to use in segment 3.
And I think everybody
Thanks,
kept
Abigail.
expecting him to fall back in that open just because he wasn't one of the bigger names. But boy, he never came close to falling back.
Well, the one thing that I know from playing over there and playing with one here a lot is you just always.
The Charlie Epps Golf Hour, powered by Insperity, continues
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Will Doctor and Charlie Epps.
A little less. He's got a very experienced caddy on his back.
We'll get to everything as far as the Texas Open over the next 3 segments.
John Wood, we're trying to get you a guest here to give you a little bit more insight as far as the Valero Texas Open. John Wood going to join us here in a few minutes. He caddied for Matt Kuchar and Hunter Mahan for 20-plus years on the PGA Tour. Now, just a sensational on-course analyst for NBC Sports. John Wood, one of my favorite voices out there for sure. But, Charlie, let's review the Texas Children's Houston Open for just 1 second. It was really a sensational finish at Memorial Park Golf Course last week with Min Woo Lee shooting 20 under par and winning his first PGA Tour victory at 26 years old in his 56th career tour start. Gary Woodland and Scotty Scheffler were the runner-up at 19 under. Charlie, your thoughts on that, fabulous finish at Memorial Park last Sunday?
Yes, sir, it sure was. And the golf course was really in prime condition for the boys to come in and enjoy the Memorial Park and the municipal golf course. Everybody can play. It's the Houston and all the residents play the golf course, but
Play like us.
it's really a good challenge for the golf professionals. And I really enjoyed being up and watching it. And what a great story about Gary Woodland. Here he was 3 years ago with a brain tumor, and all of a sudden, he went into the knife and they corrected some things. And now he's playing golf just like he was when he won the U.S. Open. That was so heartwarming to see Gary come back from a very, very delicate operation. And brain surgery is never easy. But congratulations to Tim Crane and his staff. They put on a wonderful show.
I talked to Gary this week in San Antonio.
And it's really amazing what he's going through. And he actually still has a little bit of a tumor, in his brain right now, but it is benign, but there's still a little bit there. The surgery was successful. And last week, you're right, we saw Gary finish, have his best finish since winning the U.S. Open in 2019. And he talked this week about how much work his caddy has to do out there, and how, Gary talked about how after his surgery, he can't really think ahead. It actually wears him out to get ahead of himself. And, he credited his caddy a ton, has him doing all the work out there. Gary said he had to take Tuesday off after the Houston Open to kind of rejuvenate, still gets tired a lot. But nonetheless, he is very excited about his game. Charlie, he loves the work that him and Randy Smith are doing right now, and the amount of confidence that Gary says Randy is instilling in him has really, made the difference as far as the belief in his golf game right now.
Oh, you can see it as he walks down the fairways, and he's smiling, and he's really thankful that he was able to return to the game he loves, and then have that success. So it's going to be fun to see him as he moves through this year. But I'm so happy for him.
100%. Tied second last week for 2019 U.S. Open champion Gary Woodland.
He back in the field this week and made the cut on the number. So Gary Woodland's going to get 2 more rounds of competitive golf this weekend. Scotty Scheffler also played very well in Houston last week. I mean, just so close to really. Scheffler played phenomenal all last week. I mean, 70, 67, 64, 60. I'm sorry, 60 set for Scheffler, 67, 62, 69, 63. Had it not been for just a little bit of faulty putting in that third round, and I think Scotty Scheffler would have been your champion last week. He played so well on Sunday en route to that Sunday 63. I think world number one. He's ready for the Masters tournament, Charlie.
Oh, you better believe it, and he's not disappointed with that finish, because I know that he really can look at all the statistics for that week at the Houston tournament, and his game is spot on. So watch out at Augusta.
I completely agree, Charlie. We saw, Scheffler, while he hasn't won so far yet this year, has not finished outside the top 25 since returning from the little hand incident over Christmas. And I think the best thing for him coming out of the Houston Open is he had his best week on the green so far this season rolling into the Masters tournament. And I think once Scheffler gets just a little bit of confidence with that putter, it's, the rest of the field has to watch out. Now, reviewing one more thing at the Houston Open, I thought Minwoo Lee, the champion at 26 years old, he was due for his first PGA Tour victory. Charlie, we've had Steve Elkington on the show twice, a two-time Players champion, and he's been very high on Minwoo Lee. Thought that was one of the best juniors coming out of Australia a few years ago. And, now we saw him last week win the Houston Open with just incredible iron play, an incredible short game, and great putting. I was most surprised that Minwoo Lee only hit 22 of 52 fairways en route to his title in Houston. Here was more from men on that.
I don't think the fans.
You got to I think obviously we know the rough isn't that thick this week, but it was nearly, there's a few holes out there where you got to kind of keep it in play. And, I think I did a pretty good job for the majority of it to hit it on the right side and the correct side. And, I guess it's not textbook, but it's one of those golf courses where you can, and that's why I did play. If it was a short and quirky golf course, I probably wouldn't have played. So, I didn't know that I was going to play a couple of events after the Masters, so it was one of those to add in. And at the time when I got told I was playing, I wasn't very happy but I'm very glad that my team put me in this event, and it's awesome.
He's happy now, huh, Charlie?
Boy, oh boy! How about that? His manager did him a great favor, but that just shows you how these players are. They get a little spooked, and they travel and so on and so forth. But he showed up. His expectations probably weren't as high as they normally are, and he went away with his first tour victory, and I congratulate him. And he held off the number one player in the world. So what a week for him.
Great work, Charlie, and great work to Minwoo Lee. I mean, really just, the 38th Australian to win on the PGA Tour, and the second this season. Remember, the young phenom out of Stanford, Carl Phillips, won the Puerto Rico Open. So Minwoo is your second Australian PGA Tour winner this season, and fifth first-time winner on the PGA Tour. So Minwoo moves up to 16th on the FedEx Cup standings, his career high, and he's moved from 55th to 22nd in the world. He's inside the top 25 on the official world golf rankings for the first time in his career, and we'll see him next week at the Masters tournament at Augusta National. So, great stuff there as far as the Houston Open. Charlie, here at the Valero Texas Open, you had a couple of the top favorites miss the cut. Akshay Bhatia missed the cut. Ludwig Oberg missed the cut. Hideki Matsuyama missed the cut. Funny enough, we have not seen a player miss the cut in the week before the Masters and then go win since your guy Angel Cabrera in 2009. Can you reflect on that week of 2009? was coming off a missed cut. What was that like going into Augusta National?
Well, the missed cut was kind of a misnomer because what happened, we were playing the Houston Open, and on the second day, the winds were so bad they had to stop play, and he was caught right in the middle of that. And so I picked him up on the 8th hole, and he said, "Hey, Pro, let's go win us a major." So that started that week, and as we went into Augusta, we've been working on our strategy, our hit strategy, and the putting for a year, and he got into practicing more, and boy, did it pay off. And now he's a Masters champion. You can't take that away from him. He's leading the Champions Tour event right now in Florida, so he's coming in raring to have a good tournament once again.
Charlie, I should have known leading up to the show that he had the lead on PGA Tour champions. I'm bouncing quite a few leaderboards here with the Texas Open and the Augusta National Women's Amateur.
Great leaderboard there. Angel Cabrera in a five-way tie for the lead at the old course of Broken Sound at the James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational. In a five-way tie with some great players: Miguel Angel Jimenez, Alex Cheka, Thomas Bjorn. Incredible prep, Charlie, going into his first time back at the Masters tournament in over 3 years.
Yes, sir. And he's really excited, and everybody knows his story. For the last couple of years, he had to give up golf and go pay the he went to prison, and he's not ashamed to say that, but he paid his dues, and now he can pursue his livelihood and be on the golf course and have fun. And that's what I'm so happy for the Masters champion in 2009, Angel Cabrera.
That's it. We're all behind Cabrera next week, Charlie. Let's go. He can still get it done. We've seen your friend Freddie Couples contend over the years at Augusta well into his 50s. There's no reason Angel Cabrera can't do the same. Looking forward to watching him at the Masters tournament next week. Another question I have for you, Charlie. I've heard a lot of players this week, and defending champion Akshay Bhatia in particular. He said, going through the Oaks course at the Valero Texas Open this week, he was more thinking about shots that he's going to need at Augusta National next week. Other players like Tommy Fleetwood and Ludwig Oberg, they said, we don't think about Augusta National until the Monday before the tournament. Akshay Bhatia, a little bit different. He was kind of working on shots that he thought he might need at Augusta. Maybe that's why he missed the cut off a tied third place finish to the players. What was you and Cabrera's approach to the preparation?
Well, the preparation for Augusta is ongoing 365. I mean, it's such a great event for a lot of people, and some, really aren't that impressed with it. But I know Cabrera, he's played in it, and I think his first time was 1997 or something, and it was always one of his goals, like the British Open, the
Nice to meet you. I got 2 more minutes.
So they're always teeing up for it, and. But then, if you're going to go play in the tournament in San Antonio, you better pay attention to your duties there, because that golf course is, it's kind of like playing single file down these fairways they have there. So, it's all, each person handles their golf game and their golf business differently than everybody else. So, what's good for one is not good for the other.
Charlie, we got to take a quick break. On the other side, we have John Wood joining us, 20-year veteran caddy, Matt Kuchar, Hunter Mahan, now the best on-course analyst for NBC Sports. John Wood will join us on the other side here on the Charlie Epps Golf Hour, presented by Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Hey, John. Hey, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
What cancellation or something? Or
well, Larson was supposed to join us,
Gotcha.
and he had another. But this is a lot better. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I saw you in Houston last week.
Oh, great.
How was that?
That was great. Yeah.
This is a little bit of a better challenge though this week.
More of a challenge for sure. Yeah. Ended up Sunday. I mean, Sunday beat. What a tournament though. Scotty playing, coming back, Rory playing great. Had that Sunday charge from Gary Woodland. What a great story. So hopefully we get something similar happening here this weekend. Yeah. But that's a good leaderboard,
Fantastic. Yep. Out of anyone, I mean, Harmon, as far as handling the conditions, I mean,
he's built for this. Yeah. He is built for this. He's so tough. He's not going to give you anything. There's going to be, there are holes out there where guys just give you stuff out here because it's so difficult. He's just a fighter, tooth and nail. He throws around strokes like manhole covers. He just doesn't like wasting anything. So he's going to be tough to beat, I think.
Do you know anything about the new putter or no? Did he not get
Not a lot, no. I mean, same style putter, but obviously a different one. Sometimes you just need that little extra mojo, a little change, and things click. So he's putting great. He's just, man, every putt he hits looks like it's going in. So,
will you be at Augusta next week?
I won't. No.
Okay.
It's the end of a long stretch for us, so I'll head home and I'll be watching on TV with the rest of everybody. Yeah.
Wonderful. When you were a caddy, I mean, as far as preparation in the lead up, were your players thinking about shots they needed there, or really focused in the moment?
Yeah. Cooch would do that leading up like 2 weeks before. He and his coach Chris O'Connell. Cooch hits every shot left to right, and there's a few tee shots you have to hit it right to left at Augusta. So he would start working on that specific shot a couple weeks beforehand, and so when he got there, he felt comfortable doing it. The handful of times he needed it there. But other than that, he's Augusta's so much about iron play and short game, and he's as good as it gets at that. So
class.
Yeah.
He played really well here over the years.
He loves his course.
Did he make the weekend?
He did, just on the number, I think. Yeah, didn't play great. I think he shot even yesterday, but he likes hard courses, and this is typically one of the harder ones on tour. So, he loves it here.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Sam Ryder does. I mean, that putter was so and didn't even play on Wednesday.
I know. I mean, sometimes, I swear, I think sometimes one of the big mistakes guys make out here is they overwork. They get to Thursday and they're tired. And that might have helped him get a little bit of rest. I asked Tiger once, I said, would you rather be completely sharp in every part of your game, but having to prepare a lot, or close and super fresh on Thursday? He said, no, cool question, super fresh on Thursday. I can find it, but I can't find energy.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Over here. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Thank you.
You can pick whether you like him or Tiger. It's 1 and 1A for
the Charlie Epps Golf Hour, powered by Insperity, continues
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and Charlie Epps.
Here for a gala last night.
Charlie, we have NBC on-course analyst and 20-year veteran caddy John Wood with us here live from the Vallejo, Texas Open. John, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. And hello, Charlie, my good friend. I haven't seen you for a while. I miss you, buddy.
Well, John, it's good to see you out there and doing what you're doing. I mean, you've risen to taking the caddy business to a new level, and congratulations. First of all, the one question I have for you, where's Hunter Mahan?
Hunter Mahan is pretty much done with golf. He's done a little bit of TV, but now he is actually the head coach at Argyle Academy outside Dallas of a high school golf team, and he is having a blast doing that. He's got a great personality for it, and I understand that he's just loving what he's doing, working with the kids.
Well, that's awesome, and now you have an interesting job too that's coming up in September. You're involved with the Ryder Cup, right?
Yes, sir. I got they invented this position for me, a team manager. So I'm just helping Keegan out and the assistants and the PGA of America as much as I can. Just being that I've been, part of 7 teams, that I know what goes on at Ryder Cups. I know what the players need, what the caddies need, and my job has mostly been to take as much off Keegan's plate as I can. So he can really focus on the players, the competition, the course, and some of the other, stuff that's off that he doesn't need to deal with. I can handle a lot of that stuff. So that's what we've been dealing with, and Keegan's been fantastic.
As your preparation for
I think you should.
Go ahead, Charlie.
John, one thing, I think you should just kick those players in the butt and come home with a victory. Come on now.
I'm already on it, Charlie. They know I'm not messing around. They know how much I love this event. I love it more than anything in golf. So to be a part of it like this is a dream come true for me, and it is for Keegan as well. So I know Keegan's vision for the team is very similar to what you just said. Let's kick him in the butt and get him going.
Very good.
John, has your preparation for that already started, and does that include some strategy on the course?
It has started already. We've done a lot of work. A lot of the stuff has been detail-oriented, organizing the team room, the locker room, the hotel. But we've also been dealing, working with Kerry Haig from the PGA of America on course setup. And as you know, course setup has a lot to do with Ryder Cups, and that's a big home course advantage. When we go overseas, typically very tight fairways, very thick rough, slower greens, and just the opposite when we set up a course in America for the Ryder Cups. Not a lot of rough, very fast greens, and a lot of birdies. So we've made a couple site visits already to Bethpage. We'll do a couple more before the event just to make sure we've got everything where we want it.
Charlie, anything there?
Well, I mean, what are you going to do with those New York fans? They get out of hand.
I'm gonna tell them to be louder. That's one of the biggest advantages of a Ryder Cup being at home for both teams. It's the same for both teams. We go over there, and it is tough, and it is tough to play. And you don't get, partisan crowds too much in golf. Usually golf fans are pretty polite, but that's the 1 week every 2 years when you got to put your earmuffs on and put your nose to the grindstone and play against the crowd. And you got to be up for the challenge.
That's awesome. That's going to be so much fun. Keep those guys in line.
You got it.
John, we have a really wonderful 36
here in 2023.
Four-shot lead over Keith Mitchell. Weather changing a lot here compared to the first 2 days. Can you talk about some of the challenges the players will face out here today?
Yeah, it's a completely different golf course than we've seen from Tuesday on. We got a south wind. It's been warm. Ball's been going forever. Today, completely the opposite. That front came through. I think we're done with the rain, but it's cool. It's windy out of the north, so every single hole is going to be playing the exact opposite of what it has in the first few days of the week. I think that favors somebody like Harman, who's played here a few times, and he's seen the course in different conditions because it's just completely different. You're going to get the holes where you hit driver on the first 2 days, and you're going to be hitting forehand off the tee, and vice versa. All the par threes completely different. 13 has been a beast. It's been into the wind, downhill. It's still downhill, but much shorter because the wind is completely flipped. So, and same for 16, where Tony Finau made the hole in one. I think he hit 8-iron yesterday. Today that pin is back right. It's probably going to be 6-iron, maybe some 5-irons even, straight into that 20-mile-an-hour northern wind. So completely different golf course. Caddies are going to be huge this weekend in preparation, just figuring all that stuff before the round starts so their players not surprised by anything.
NBC Golf Channel's John Wood joining us here on ESPN 97.5 Houston. You've been on the bag for a lot of 36-hole leads and wins over the years in the PGA Tour. When you're holding a 4-shot lead like that, in the shoes of the player and the caddy, what is that preparation like for the weekend?
I think it's too early to start changing strategies. 4 shots on this course, especially with all the trouble that's out there, that can change in a heartbeat. So I don't think Brian will come out any differently today. Every part of today is going to be good just because the conditions are tougher. And he's that kind of player where he's just, as Charlie knows, he's tough and he will not give you any shots where other players may do that. Brian's putting great. Hasn't putted well this year, but put a new putter in this week and has been every putt he hits looks like it's going in. He's in real control of his golf ball. And as we saw when he won the Open at Hoylake, these are the same conditions: cold, windy, and it plays right into his gifts. So I think he's going to be tough to beat, but I don't think he changes anything yet.
Charlie?
Well, John, the game is ever changing, and it's always for the best, I think. But the guys are now, they get to the practice range, and they're able to bring in a device that can read every shot they make and tell them what spin rate. What do you think of that type of golf?
I think it's great for practice. I think some guys fall too much in love with it.
That's
Got
got
all the answers. If they look at the spin rate or they're coming from an angle of attack, it's taken a little bit of the artistry out of it, I think. And I think the greats, you can be very good learning off a TrackMan or whatever you might be using. But I think to be great, you've got to be able to throw that information away and say, okay, that might tell me that, but I know for a fact that I need to hit this shot down and take spin off it, and that's not going to tell me how to do that. It's the feel thing. I think Jordan Spieth is a player like that these days. Tiger, obviously, you saw that. Angel. I mean, Angel is a shot maker and always has been. There's a lot of guys who live and die by one stock shot these days, and that's fine. You can become very, very good. But when you get in those situations where your stock shot is not going to work, no matter how good you hit it, you've got to be able to adapt. So I think there's a time and a place for those things, but you have to be able to go off map on that and trust yourself and your feel.
So we'll definitely want to keep an eye on what she
I
does.
like that. Yes, sir.
Probably
John, as far as a couple other players on this leaderboard, some of the favorites going into the week. George Spieth, his game, three-time major champion from Texas, his game feels so close, and you can tell that in the pressers. He said he felt like he was a lot closer at Valspar than his final result said at the end of the week. How good do you feel about his game going into Augusta?
I was out with him on Thursday. He looked fantastic. I mean, he drove it great other than one drive on 17, which he ended up making birdie anyways. The thing I liked watching Jordan is sometimes he can look fairly indecisive. I mean, a lot of back and forth with Michael Greller, who's one of the best caddies in the world, and on the greens. I thought his process on Thursday was a lot quicker, more decisive, and especially on the greens. Once he saw what he wanted to do, he just got in and did it. And he's one of those players who I think when his front tires cross from Washington Road to Augusta National, something changes in his brain. So whether his game is great or a little bit off, I think that place inspires him so much that I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him right in the mix next week.
As far as the rough around the greens here at the Oaks course and from the approach, Jordan talked about how it's actually a little trickier, how the rough's a little lower. Can you help our listener understand what he means by that?
It is. When he was on Smiley's Happy Hour yesterday, we talked about that a little bit, and it's a lot about reading the lie. When you have really thick, say, U.S. Open rough, there's no guessing there. You just take, the most lofted club you think you can get out of there and swing as hard as you can. Here, you got to say, okay, it's sitting up a little bit. This might come out hot and, no spin at all and be a flyer and go forever. I might catch it high on the face and it could come out dead. And especially around the greens, it's the same thing. You can get little flyers around the green that you're trying to hit, 20 feet, but they come out, fly 25 feet with no spin whatsoever. So that's the tough about the rough like this week and last week is reading the lie. And same thing at Augusta. You got to be able to read it. It's not just get in there and hack at it. You've got to be able to decipher what it's going to do and then execute and say, I'm going to try and take a little jump out of this, maybe shallow out the swing a little bit, swing a little bit easier. And other times you're going to say, I want this to jump. I want this 9-iron to go 180. So you throw it back in your stance, get steep on it. So there's a lot more to it than just getting up there and hacking at it. You got to be able to read it and execute what your plan is.
Charlie, any final questions for John before we let him get back to work?
Well, I just want to wish you luck for the rest of the year as you go through doing what you're doing now. And it's very evident that you're on the ball and you know the game. And so my last question is, how did you get into golf?
I was a baseball player growing up, Charlie. Loved baseball. Still do today. I still think the Giants gave me a call to play second base for him at some point at 55 years old. But about 14, 15 years old, baseball was over for the summer, and my dad always played golf. I started playing golf a little bit and just fell in love with it. And I got pretty good pretty quickly. I was pretty athletic. Had a great teacher named Judy Gillarducci back in Sacramento. And my sophomore year, I kind of switched from baseball to golf, and that's how I got into it. So it's funny how life happens, isn't it? Something like that switches, and here I am today, just luckiest man in golf.
Did you ever run into Bobby Eastwood?
Oh yeah, yep. Oh yeah. I knew Bob. Absolutely. It's good Sacramento golf scene, for a long time. So I did know Bob. Absolutely.
Bob Bobby and I ended up playing Army golf together in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and we played the first tour school together in 1969, which he won. But Bobby was a good guy, good player, and well, I congratulate you on your new career and are really doing a good job for golf, and we'll see you down the road.
Charlie, thanks very much. I miss seeing you, my friend, and good luck to your guy out there on the Champions Tour. I'll be rooting for him. Always had a great time with Angel.
Thank you very much.
All right, buddy.
That's John Wood, Golf Channel,
NBC Sports.
In case you missed that, you can find it on the Charlie Epps Golf Hour podcast after the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour presented by Insperity. Back after this.
Hey, all right.
Doing well.
John, I really appreciate it. It was great to meet you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, have a great rest of the season.
Yeah, we'll do it again next year.
Yeah, sounds good.
Plan on it.
Thanks, John.
You got it.
What a spot. Great work there, Charlie. Abigail, if you could tell Charlie coming out of break, we'll do the Insperity read. And then we'll go through this audio. Harmon, Mitchell, Spieth. If we have time, we'll get to Berger. Just going over this leaderboard at the here in San Antonio.
A little softer.
Eight 46 as we continue. It's the golf show. We're out here at the TPC San Antonio Oaks Course, the Valero Texas Open, and our chance to visit with Brian Honorado as the head professional out here at TPC. I was talking to John Wood earlier. You're going to have a different golf course on the pros today. It's the same layout, but the weather is going to dictate that it's play a little bit different.
Yeah, this course is always weather dependent. Heavy winds out of the southeast and flipped on us a little bit overnight. Go right up to the north, a little cooler. We'll be downwind for the first 4 holes. 17 is going to be interesting today with that setup, and now they're pushing in the wind on 18. So.
Yeah, I used to when the tournament first came out here, the 18th hole was still what the distance is now, and players were never hitting it at 2.
Right.
Now let's move the tees up.
Right.
Now they don't have to move the tees up because they can all hit it 2. They hit it so far.
I know. I was watching a little bit yesterday, and I think probably 66% of the guys are on board too, and have no problem with it.
It's amazing how good they are and how far they hit it. All right, take us to the preparation for this event. Takes it's kind of year round because you're always making sure the course is in its peak condition for this week. So the summer, the members and the resort guests are playing, and then in September, October, the overseeded ride goes down, and then you're kind of babysitting it until you get to April.
Exactly. I mean, it's interesting because as soon as it gets a little bit warmer here, it'll be on Bermuda. Bermuda's a lot different than the ride place. And actually, the place is a little bit tougher in the summer. So that really means the rough is 3-4 inches. You get a lot of our members and stuff I see him on the course here that we.
This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Powered by Insperity.
Now from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and the golf doctor himself, Charlie Epps.
A little bit elevated. If it's blowing
April
5
28th May 4th, the Insperity Invitational takes place at the Woodlands Country Club Tournament Course as the PGA Tour champions travels to Texas. You're going to have really just an incredible field there. Scott Dunlop is the defending champion. You're going to have Jack Nicklaus. You're going to have Lee Trevino, Gary Player, Sterling Faldo on property for the Greats of Golf competition presented by Folds of Honor there on Saturday of that week of the Insperity Invitational. In case you're not there, in case you can't make it to the property, that's no problem. The tournament's going to have 3 days of tournament coverage on Golf Channel. Friday, May 2nd to Sunday, May 4th, all competitive tournament rounds going to be broadcasted there. And Charlie, this is all thanks. This tournament just would not take place without the great leadership at Insperity and Steve Aristi and Paul Sarvati. Talk a little bit more about the company that business owners can go to if they want better HR performance.
Well, it was a company that was started in 1986 in Houston, Texas. Paul Servati had a vision, had a desire to put together a company that would help small business grow. And Insperity started out as a small business, and wanting to help people run their business more efficiently and help them with HR problems and so on and so forth. And lo and behold, after all of those years, they have 4,000 professional employees that help small business all over the country. And if you're in a small business and you want some help, you want some support, give Insperity a call. Log on to their website, Insperity.com, and find out what they do. And you're going to find a company that is so well run and is so well positioned to help the average business succeed. I can't tell you how proud I am to have them as a sponsor all these years for the golf show, but more importantly, their friendship. So Insperity is an incredible company, and we couldn't be luckier, could we?
Charlie, you are exactly right. This is a company that really puts the community at the forefront. They're looking out for Houston and all the foundations, Remind support, many other companies that Insperity greatly helps with to help benefit the Houston community. That's what they put first and foremost. And yeah, if you're a business owner that wants the best HR and payroll performance, please contact Insperity. Go to their website at Insperity.com and get the help you need to see your company thrive and grow. And that's number one. Number two is, really it's important to get out to the Insperity Invitational, the PGA Tour Champions event at the Woodlands Country Club Tournament course on April 28th. And I've really found I learn a lot more, from the PGA Tour Champions guys than a lot of other, professional golf tours, the way they go about their preparation, the way they play the course, how smart they are, the decisions that they make going around their competitive rounds. I think the viewer can really learn a lot, Charlie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's another week, and we got the Masters coming up, the Insperity Invitational. So, my man, it's been fun being with you. You have a good weekend over in San Antonio. Watch the Houston Cougars play in the Final Four. How about that? I think that's really exciting.
I'm rooting for Coach Sampson. I think the Houston Cougars can help somebody get to the Duke Blue Devils.
I respect what John Shire has done
there at Duke, taking over
Mike Krzyzewski. But the Houston Cougars, they're too experienced. These are a bunch of juniors and seniors that are playing. They've been here before. I think 3 Elite Eights in the last 5 years, including a Final Four. I think in 2018. Forgive me if I'm incorrect there as a golf analyst here. But I think as far as Kelvin Sampson always puts out a great defense, and now they have some 3-4 year starters that can really shoot the ball from the perimeter. So seriously, non-biased. I'm from Houston, but non-biased. I think the Houston Cougars beat the Duke Blue Devils and are facing Auburn there on Monday for the national title, Charlie. Now, before we go, we got about we got about 4 or 5 minutes here. I want to take you through a little bit of sound from the leaders and the contenders here at the Valero Texas Open. Brian Harmon, he's holding his 8th 36-hole lead on the PGA Tour. He is 1 for 7 to date, but his last 36-hole lead was the 2023 Open Championship, and he had no problem closing that one out. I think with some of the weather coming in, as the great John Wood was talking about, I would not be surprised whatsoever if Brian Harmon goes ahead and finishes this tournament off. He's yet to record a finish better than 25th this season. He was more from Harmon on that.
It has been a slow start. It just a little uncharacteristic, and I've been pretty frustrated. I haven't really been able to put my finger on, what it is that's kind of holding me back. So nice to take a couple weeks off and regroup and at least have a couple nice days so far.
Keith Mitchell is the chaser going into the weekend. He's in solo second after rounds of 64-72. The 64 on Thursday was flawless from Keith, who's number one in approach. Yesterday, the irons regressed just a little bit en route to that even par 72. But Keith did a great job grinding it out, made a lot of birdies to offset his bogeys. And at the end of the day, he wasn't too happy about his round yesterday, but even parred 8 under, still in contention, still 4 shots back from Harmon. He was Mitchell after the second round yesterday.
Yeah, a little up and down. Kind of made a bad swing on 18 and bad swing on 1 tee. Other than that, I kind of hung in there. Wish I got up and down on 7 and 8, but all in all, I'm still in there. I wish I was closer to Brian than I am, but glad to make par on 9 so I could stay in the last group.
Are there any particular parts of today's game where you're proud of? Or, like you mentioned, hanging in there.
I birdied 5 and 6, which was nice. I really made a good swing on 7. I probably hit the wrong club, and then had a good chance of birdie on 8 too. So just it wasn't my best, but thankfully I played great yesterday and have 2 more rounds.
George made a comment yesterday.
Mitchell looking to grab that final spot for the Masters tournament next week, and what a great place to do so. Keith Mitchell in his 4th career start at the Valero Texas Open. We look at the last 3 years at this his last 3 starts at this tournament. He's gone 26, 17, 14. So, Mitchell loves this golf course. He's a great driver of the golf ball. I think he'll stay in this tournament as long as he can get that iron play back on track. And Charlie, another player I'm really watching going into this weekend, that's Daniel Berger. He's at 6 under par, 6 back of Brian Harmon going into the weekend. Berger shot 4 under yesterday in what was a great round. He's been playing phenomenal this season. And this is a Daniel Berger, a 4-time PGA Tour winner, who is coming off a back injury that took him out of the game for 2 years, but he's had just a phenomenal return to golf. Here was Berger after round 2 on the next stage of his career.
Well, I think I don't take anything for granted. Early in my career, I maybe would have skipped a few of the essentials that I would never skip now, whether that be in the gym or the recovery component of it. But I think I'm much more of a professional now than I was early on in my career, and I think that I'm still young in the golf world, 32. I feel like I have a lot of golf left in me and a lot of good golf left in me. So, like I was telling Damon, I think missing that year and a half was actually a huge benefit to me because I learned things that I would have had to learn the hard way if I hadn't gone through that experience.
Charlie, that was possibly my favorite interview of the week right there. On in the oldest levels of the game, on PGA Tour champions, you have Angel Cabrera, who's in the lead there at the Champions Tour event this week, and he's coming off a couple years of some great learning, tough but definitely beneficial learning lessons. I think Daniel Berger, maybe in a little bit of I don't want to say they went through the same thing, Charlie, but Berger definitely off a couple years where he's learned some life lessons as well.
And they're 2 different people, but they were away from the game, and they made him appreciate what a game it is, and they come back, with their mindset, and they learn from their mistakes, and that's what we all can do, and whether it's an injury or probably a mistake of judgment, you can get back to the game, and the game's forgiving. It'll allow you some mistakes and come back. There's been a lot of guys come back to the game like these 2, like Gary Woodland. I mean, so life's full of people that have made mistakes and come back to their businesses and been very successful.
We got great work today, Charlie. We got to get out of here. A couple things to watch today. NBC is going to bring you both of them. First, the Augusta National Women's Amateur. The final round of that will take place this afternoon at Augusta National Golf Club. And then the third round of the Valero Texas Open as Brian Harman goes into Saturday with a 4-shot lead at 12 under par over Keith Mitchell. Charlie, it's been a privilege to talk with you this morning. We had NBC's John Wood on at the halfway point. In case you missed that, you can find that on Apple Podcasts and Spotify after the show. Charlie, let's have a great week. We'll talk next Saturday for the Masters tournament.
Well, you have a safe weekend, and we'll see you next week. And great job.
Thanks, Charlie. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour presented by Insperity. Back to you next Saturday.
Abigail, great work today. If you could also post John Wood separately, and for the title, you can just put John Wood, comma, NBC commentator and 20-year veteran caddy. Thanks, Abigail. Bye-bye.